Two flagship serial dramas were removed from tonight's schedule to accommodate live Six Nations coverage, a move that undermines the broadcaster's recent shift to a weekday soap, Power Hour, and has prompted immediate viewer backlash over consistency. The change comes amid ongoing promotion of the 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. slot reform and renewed emphasis on streaming windows for viewers of ITVX. What changed in tonight's schedule, and who announced the new pattern? Verified facts. The two soaps reduced their weekly output by half an hour in January and were reprogrammed to air each weeknight in a compressed slot from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Kevin Ligo, Managing Director of Media and Entertainment at ITV, framed the revised commissioning pattern as viewer-led, saying the shorter, streaming-friendly episodes would fit changing viewing habits and deliver more pacey storytelling. Verified facts. For tonight, both Coronation Street and Emmerdale were removed from their usual airtimes to allow live coverage of a Six Nations match beginning with build-up at 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time and kick-off at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time from the Aviva Stadium. Jill Douglas presented the opening match coverage from the venue. Analysis. The stated intent behind the scheduling change was to create a reliable, streamlined daily window for soap viewers. Yet the temporary preemption exposes a practical tension. Live sport with variable start and extended build-up can disrupt even a tightly packaged evening schedule. That tension is a central contradiction between a linear, appointment-to-view model and the broadcaster's push toward on-demand flexibility for viewers on platforms such as ITVX. How are viewers and program talent responding to the disruption? Verified facts. Reactions among viewers have been sharp. Some described the removal of the two programs from the Friday schedule as unfair and disgusting, and others urged that sport be moved to a streaming-only outlet or a different channel to preserve routine programming. Chris Bisson, an actor on Emmerdale, had previously suggested the new pattern would eliminate uncertainty by establishing consistent 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. viewing, a position that has been contradicted by this week's changes. Analysis. The clash between live event scheduling and a compressed serial schedule is not novel, but it is particularly acute here because the broadcaster publicly repositioned the soaps as a daily, bite-sized offering. Talent expectations and viewer routines were reset on that promise. Sudden deviations risk eroding trust in the reliability of the new daily window, amplifying frustration among viewers who do not wish to follow live sport and who rely on linear scheduling. What does the ITVX-era Power Hour promise? And why did it fail tonight? Verified facts. The programming pattern introduced in January packaged 30-minute episodes of Emmerdale at 8 p.m. followed by Coronation Street at 8:30 p.m. across Monday to Friday. The soaps were repeatedly adjusted this week to allow live Six Nations broadcast commitments. The two programs will resume the weekday pattern the following Monday, with Emmerdale at 8 p.m. and Coronation Street at 8:30 p.m. Analysis. The ambition to create a tidy, streamer-friendly daily block collides with the operational reality of high-profile live sport. Live events carry priority for the broadcaster and advertisers, yet repeated interruptions threaten the very habitual behavior the Power Hour configuration aims to establish. For viewers who adopted the new routine, the message delivered by tonight's preemption is clear. Live event scheduling can override the pledge of a daily fixed slot, weakening the persuasive case for migrating habitual viewers to ITVX and the reconfigured linear schedule. Accountability, and what should follow. Verified fact and analysis together show a need for clear rules on when live events will displace scheduled drama, and for precise, timely communication to viewers about temporary changes. The broadcaster has framed the new commissioning pattern as viewer-led and streaming-compatible. To uphold that claim, it must reconcile live event commitments with the promise of dependable nightly storytelling on both linear channels and ITVX. For decades, evenings in Britain had followed a familiar rhythm. Dinner plates were cleared away, the kettle whistled for tea, and televisions flickered on across millions of living rooms. Families settled into sofas and armchairs, ready to step back into the lives of characters who felt almost like neighbors. For many viewers, that routine revolved around two iconic serial dramas, Emmerdale and Coronation Street. But on one particular Friday night, that comforting routine suddenly vanished. Without warning for some viewers, both flagship soaps disappeared from the schedule, in their place. Live rugby coverage from the Six Nations Championship. The decision ignited confusion, frustration, and a wave of backlash from loyal soap fans who felt their nightly ritual had been unexpectedly disrupted. The birth of the soap Power Hour. Only weeks earlier, ITV had proudly unveiled a bold new plan. For years, soap schedules had shifted constantly, sometimes airing multiple episodes per week, sometimes at unpredictable times. Executives believed that needed to change. The center of the strategy was Kevin Lygo, the managing director of media and entertainment at ITV. Lygo had championed a new viewing model designed to modernize how audiences watched soaps. Instead of irregular scheduling, viewers would get a consistent nightly block. From 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. The format was simple. 8:00 p.m., Emmerdale. 8:30 p.m., Coronation Street. 2 30-minute episodes. Every weeknight. Executives believed the format would suit modern viewers who preferred shorter, fast-paced storytelling, especially those watching on ITVX. The concept became known internally as the Soap Power Hour. A promise to viewers. When ITV announced the new schedule, executives emphasized one word repeatedly: consistency. In interviews and promotional campaigns, the message was clear. No more guessing when the soaps would air. No more schedule chaos. Every weeknight at 8 p.m., the story would continue. Soap actors themselves echoed that optimism. One of them, Chris Bisson, had spoken publicly about the change. The new structure, he said, would eliminate confusion and create a dependable viewing routine for fans. Viewers embraced the idea quickly. Within weeks, households across the country had adjusted their evenings accordingly. For some, the new block became the centerpiece of their night. But then came the rugby. The match that changed the schedule. The Six Nations Championship is one of Europe's biggest sporting events. Every year, millions tune in to watch the international rugby tournament. For broadcasters like ITV, it represents an opportunity and a challenge. Live sports generate huge ratings, but they also disrupt carefully planned schedules. That tension exploded on this particular Friday night. ITV confirmed that both Emmerdale and Coronation Street would be removed from the schedule to make room for a major match. The broadcast would begin with pre-match coverage at 7:20 p.m., leading into kickoff at 8:10 p.m. The game would take place at Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Coverage would be hosted by sports presenter Jill Douglas, reporting live from the venue. For sports fans, it was exciting news. For soap fans, it was something else entirely. Viewers noticed something's missing at exactly 8 p.m. Televisions across Britain flicked on. But instead of the familiar opening of Emmerdale, viewers saw rugby analysis and stadium footage. Social media erupted almost immediately. "Where is Emmerdale?" one viewer posted. Another asked bluntly, "Why is the rugby on instead of Corey?" Within minutes, the confusion turned into anger. Backlash. Online soap fans did not hold back. Posts appeared across social media platforms criticizing the decision. Some described the move as unfair. Others called it disgusting. One particularly frustrated viewer wrote, "They promised a reliable soap hour every weeknight, and now it disappears because of rugby?" Another argued the match should have aired on a different channel entirely. "Why can't the sport go on another channel? Leave the soaps alone." Some even suggested the match should be moved exclusively to ITV's streaming service. The complaints reflected a deeper issue than one missing episode. For many viewers, the change felt like a broken promise. A clash of television worlds. At the heart of the controversy lies a fundamental conflict. Soap operas rely on routine. Viewers build their schedules around them. Live sports, however, operate differently. Kickoff times can shift. Pre-match coverage expands. Games sometimes run longer than expected. For broadcasters, sports events often take priority because they attract massive audiences and advertising revenue. But that priority can undermine scripted programming. The Friday night disruption exposed the fragile balance between the two. The ITVX strategy. The schedule shift also highlights another major transition happening inside ITV. The broadcaster has been pushing viewers toward ITVX, its digital streaming platform. Executives believe on-demand viewing represents the future of television. The Power Hour strategy was designed partly to support that shift. Shorter episodes make it easier for viewers to catch up online. If someone misses a broadcast, they can simply watch later on ITVX. But that solution didn't satisfy everyone. Some viewers argued that they prefer traditional television schedules. They want their shows at a predictable time, not something they must search for online. The broken routine. For loyal soap fans, routines are important. For decades, Emmerdale and Coronation Street have been woven into daily life. People plan their evenings around them: dinner breaks, tea breaks, even family conversations. The idea behind the Power Hour was to strengthen that habit. But when the schedule suddenly vanished for a rugby match, that routine was disrupted, and viewers noticed. Inside ITV's dilemma from ITV's perspective, the decision wasn't simple. The Six Nations tournament is one of the biggest sporting events in the broadcasting calendar. Advertisers pay premium prices for those broadcasts. The ratings are often enormous. Skipping the match wasn't an option, but airing it meant sacrificing the soap block. Executives were forced to choose between two powerful audiences, sports fans and soap fans. The aftermath as the rugby match aired live from Dublin, the backlash continued online. Viewers debated the fairness of the decision. Some defended ITV's choice. Others remained furious. But ITV maintained that the schedule change was temporary. The soaps would return the following Monday. The Power Hour would continue. Still, the damage had already been done. The disruption had raised an uncomfortable question. Can the Power Hour survive? The entire strategy depends on consistency. Viewers must trust that the shows will appear at the same time every night, that if interruptions happen frequently, that trust weakens. And if viewers stop relying on the schedule, the entire concept begins to collapse. That's the risk ITV now faces. The rugby match may have lasted only one night, but it exposed a vulnerability in the system. A lesson for the future television is changing rapidly. Streaming services are reshaping how audiences watch content. Live sports remain one of the few formats that still dominate real-time viewing. Broadcasters like ITV are trying to balance both worlds. But as Friday night proved, that balance isn't easy. When live sport collides with scripted drama, something has to give. This time, it was the soaps.